Okay, let's go ahead and look at this second part of the benchmark review. So this part, you're looking at exponent rules. So simplifying the expression as far as you can, making sure to only have positive exponents. So looking at number 13, remember if we expand this out, that we really have 8 times k to the third times 4 times k to the second. So when we simplify that, I can multiply our 8 and our 4. 8 times 4 is 32. And then when we look at our exponents, when we multiply exponents with the same base, we add the exponents. So that gives us k to the 3 plus 2, and that's going to give us 32 k to the 5th power. So looking at our answers, D is our answer. Looking at number 14, similar problem. Expanding it out, times 4 times B. Okay, so we can multiply our 6 and our 4. 6 times 4 gives us 24. And then with our exponents, we're going to add them. Remember that even though it's not written there, that is b to the 1st power. So we end up with b to the 2 plus 1. And so that ends up with 24b to the 3rd power. Okay, just by looking at our coefficient, we can tell that answer B is our answer. Okay. Number 15, we're dividing. So with division, okay, we're going to subtract. Okay, so we have 5, and remember that m is to the 1st power. So we have 5/3, and then we have m to the 1st minus 3rd. Okay, so that ends up giving us 5/3 m to the negative 2. Okay, well that m needs to move down to the bottom to get rid of that negative exponent. So we're going to have 5 over 3 m to the 2nd power. So that means that D is our answer. Number 16, same thing, working with our division of exponents with the same base. Okay, so we have 7 on top, 5 on the bottom, and we're going to, okay, we can either, so if we do n to the 2 minus 3, that ends up being n to the negative 1, okay? But I can't have a negative exponent, so we're going to have it go to the bottom, okay? So that means that D is the answer. Number 17, okay? We're combining a few things, looking at this one. So let's simplify the top and simplify the bottom, okay? I know that 2 times 7, that is 14, okay? Multiplying exponents, going to use that rule. That means I have n to the 1 plus negative 3 on the top. Okay, 7 times 8, that gives me 56, n to the 3 plus 2. Okay, so right now I have 14n to the negative 2, and then 56n to the 5th. Okay, now looking at this and trying to figure out what we can do with this. So I'm going to first look at my coefficients. Okay, 14 divided by 14, try to simplify. Okay, and over here, if I divide by 14, okay, 14 divided by 14, that's going to give me 1 over 56 divided by 14 is 4. Okay, now looking at our exponents, okay, we can subtract and we can go n to the negative 2 minus 5, okay, that ends up being n to the negative 7 over 4. Okay, well, I can't have that negative, so I'm going to move it to the bottom. That leaves me a 1 on top, 4n to the 7th power. That means that B is the answer. Okay, number 18. Simplifying this expression, working through, following our rules. So first, I'm going to leave the top alone, and I'm going to look at the bottom and simplify it. 2 times 6 is 12. And then adding my exponents. -3 plus 1 gives me -2. Okay? So I have a negative. I can't have a negative. I need to move it to the top to change it to a positive. So that on the top, I'm going to have k to the 3rd plus that 2. Okay? And then I can also simplify. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay? And so that's going to end up being k to the 5th over 2. So that means that C is our best answer. Okay, looking at the bottom half, scientific notations. So changing it from standard form to scientific notation. So number 19, we have a really big number. Our decimal is starting here. We need to move our decimal over to get our coefficient to be between 1 and 10. So that's going to give me a coefficient of 1.6. Now, how many places did we have to move it? We had to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had to move it 5 times, so that gives us 10 to the 5th power. Has to be positive because it is a big number. Looking at number 20, we have a really small number. Okay, so that tells me that I'm going to have a negative exponent. So I can already know that it's not going to be C or D. So let's look at it. We need to move our decimal over here so that our coefficient is between 1 and 10. So how many places did we move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives us 10 to the negative 5th. So that means B is the answer. Looking at 21, now we're going from scientific notation to standard form. So we have our coefficient 8.5, okay? So we have our 8, our 5, okay? We need to move it. Our exponent is negative. That means it's really small, so we're going to have to move it to the left, okay? So if I had my decimal right here, I've got to move it 4 places because of that exponent. So I move it 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that I have a 0, a 0, a 0, and then the decimal. So that means that A is the answer. And guys, really, just by noticing that negative exponent, you could pick out A as the answer just because it's the really small answer. Looking at number 22. Another scientific notation, changing to standard. So the coefficient is 7. We need to move the decimal 3 places because of that exponent. So right now the decimal is right here. We go 1, 2, 3. And we get 0, 0, 0. That means that C is the best answer. Okay, looking at the bottom 2. Writing your answer in scientific notation. So with these, you can absolutely use your calculator. Remember, we need to change it into scientific mode. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and then I'm just going to enter in the problem. 8.29 times 10 to the negative 6. Move over, close my parentheses. Parentheses 2.7 times 10 to the negative 4. Okay, enter. Okay, and so when we hit enter and we get our answer, we end up with that 2.238, and they rounded to the negative 9. Okay, Now, let's look at why some of these other answers could not work if we're looking at scientific notation. If I look at A right here, the coefficient, it is not between 1 and 10, so it could not work. So A can't be there an answer. C, when I look at that answer, okay, again, coefficient doesn't follow the rules for scientific notation, so it could not work. And then I can also do a quick estimation for D, because I know that with our rules of exponents that I add the exponents, -6 plus -4, well, that is nowhere in the ballpark of D. So that one could not work. Now, let's go ahead and look at 24. Okay, 24, the answers are a little bit closer together. So let's see what we get when we solve 24. So we have 7.3 times 10 to the -3, closing parentheses, 7 times 10 to the -4, close it, okay, and we end up 5.11 to the -6, okay. That one's a little closer with our estimation, so that one is going to be one that is best to go ahead and enter in the problem to solve it. Okay, so that finishes our benchmark review.